Hey guys, how we doing? It is Saturday, April 30th, 2022. Got some stuff here just printed out the internet. Um, Today's video is actually going to be about an FM radio station here in the Philadelphia, South Jersey area. One that is owned by a company called Audacity now. And just a couple of days ago just rebranded itself. I'm talking about none other than 98.1 WOGL, which has been rebranded as Big 98.1. Now, this stuff I got here is actually from the Philadelphia Inquirer, just to give them credit. I don't make any money off these videos, but I figured I would mention that. But in the particular article, it mentions trying to target the largest possible audience. So there's just one problem with that. You can't, I don't know that you can really, that it really works if you play a 70s song and then you're into the late 90s in the next song. It just doesn't work. There was a lot of changes during those years, and it just from experience just doesn't work. I have a lot of 70s music in my collection, and I also have, I lived through the 90s, and I know the changes that occurred in the music during those years. So apparently with the change and the rebrand, bunch of got rid of a bunch of people. A bunch of new people are going to come aboard, and I don't have a good feeling about this, because anytime a a large company takes over a station and they start mentioning the largest possible audience, it's only a matter of time. That they've got people looking at the bottom dollar, or the bottom line. Excuse me, the bottom line. And if the ratings don't do well and they don't get a lot of listeners, or the number that they're looking for, they're going to go directly for the kids, and then you'll have another young person station on the radio. Which brings me to the problem here in the Philadelphia, South Jersey area. Okay? Now, I own my house. I am a 41-year-old man. I have my mother here who will be 69 in November. She lives with me. Still works, by the way, full time, and doesn't bitch about it like most people in Generation X, which is the generation I identify with. We both listened to WOGL over the years. I would have to say, when they got away from being Hot Hits 98 in 1987, and they went to Oldies 98, that was the format they should have stuck with. I understand people get older, but here's the thing. Older people don't like messing with technology. Now, I understand if you want oldies, and I believe WMGK does this as well. You can get their HD2 station or whatever. Well, how many old people do you know are going to have HD tuners in their cars? Or, excuse me, older people. And please, any of you older folks, any of you folks that are of a certain age out there, please don't be offended by me saying that. It's not meant to offend you. People that are, let's say, of a certain age, over 65. How many of them are really going to want to mess around with that kind of technology, or having to go to pull out their smartphone? My mom doesn't have a smartphone. She wants no parts of a smartphone. Excuse me. allergies are really bad this year. So anyway, she wants to know parts of a smartphone. So why do they think the folks that are in that age group are going to want to go for a smartphone and an app? Now, I actually did a little experiment on my way to work this morning. I actually launched iHeartRadio and went to an Oldies station on there, and just used the Bluetooth audio in my Lincoln MKZ that I drive to work, and it was a pain in the ass because when I get to work, I get to my warehouse, like it's a bunch of stuff I take in. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning, 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning when I get there. Yeah, I gotta turn the app off, close out of the stupid thing, make sure that the app's not sucking resources out of the phone. Make sure that everything's back right. I switched the tuner back to FM in the car. And I gotta shut the car up, get all my stuff out and go in. It's annoying. And I'm a mid-aged guy in my 40s. But that's the real issue. So folks that are of a certain age group, let's say my mom's age group, not all of them, some are, but some don't really care about this modern technology. They're where they're at. They're not going to change. They are comfortable. And now they have nothing. Now they have nothing on the FM band to listen to. What are they going to want to do? Put WMGK on and listen to Nirvana and Guns N' Roses? I mean, have you guys listened to that station lately? That station's going downhill too. If you notice, on that particular station, they used to play "Come Together," and it was the Beatles version off of Abbey Road. Now they play the Aerosmith version from the 70s, which, if I'm not mistaken, I think it might have been in that god-awful Sgt. Pepper movie that, the Bee Gees were involved in the soundtrack, and I think Peter Frampton was involved in it, and that was, from what I understand, was a disaster. I mean, I tried to listen to that soundtrack, and I'm like, oh my goodness, just give me the Beatles version of Sgt. Pepper. That's good enough for me. So that particular station is going downhill too, but we can save that for another video. Back to 98. I mean, one thing I would have to say, obviously 1987, I was in grade school. I was the youngest of 3 siblings. My sister gave me all kinds of exposure. It was house music. I mean, it was freestyle, hair bands, all that stuff. So I had exposure to all that. I had Def Leppard. I had Whitesnake. It could be everything from Def Leppard to Whitesnake to Debbie Gibson to frickin' Expose, Cover Girls, Sweet Sensation, Paula Abdul, all that stuff that was popular back then. And then, and that was, of course, the year that Hot Hits 98 went away, and it became Oldies 98. So, go out in the car. Mom would have it on in the car. She kind of got away from Magic 103 at that point, which was at that time an adult contemporary station, and went towards 98.1 because it played the oldies. She loved that stuff from the early days of rock and roll. And by the way, let's clear that up too. The 1980s music is not oldies. Okay, it's the 1980s music. Oldies was a term I heard for the first time in '87, and it was used to identify music from the early days of rock and roll. Doo-wop, okay, the doo-wop stuff. Buddy Holly, Roy Orbison, Little Richard, James Brown, Ray Charles, Richie Valens, J.P. Richardson, the Big Bopper. The list goes on and on and on. So you're talking about the late 50s up to maybe about the mid 60s. Nice little period in music. Early days of rock and roll. Good stuff. Now, I've told you guys a story before about me. When, 91, Nirvana came out. I had no interest in that grunge stuff whatsoever. And it proved to be, short, depressing, and it was gone just as quick as it showed up. So everything I've ever said about it was proven to be true. Except for its diehard fans that Still listen to it to this day. God bless them. But anyway, one of the things I did when that came out, I stuck with my hairband stuff, and all the stuff from the 80s. I never abandoned it. I went back to the Oldies station, and I went back to classic rock, and I got so into that music. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful thing that, I have a lot of it in my collection today. And I just, excuse me, but I'm, oh gosh, I'm lost for words right now. It's amazing to me that a station program directors, whoever makes the decision, the owner, the program director, whatever, would abandon that type of music. Because, and you know what, this didn't happen overnight either. This happened over a period of time. They started less and less of this decade, more and more of that decade, and then it eventually came in, So now you got 70s, lots of 80s, and 90s. Yeah. I just wonder what a young person, if their 69-year-old grandmother goes to put that station on thinking they're going to hear a Diana Ross and the Supremes song, and they hear a Coldplay song. What the hell is that person going to do? What the hell is this? I've never heard this crap in my life. So I think they did as a company, the company that owns that station, they did exactly what they should not do. All right, make the new stuff available on the app, on the internet, available for stream. Leave the FM band alone. Keep the oldies for the mature folks, shall we say. Got to be respectful to them. People that are of a certain age. And people like me, middle-aged people like me, that love that music because I've had so much exposure to it in my young years. I don't want to give up on that music. I want to listen to that music till the day I die. It's wonderful music. I mean, you literally had 3-piece bands. This sounded incredible. And you think about Buddy Holly and the Crickets, how great they sounded. I understand, people don't live forever. But you know what? When, I'm the child of that generation that grew up with that music. They exposed me to it. You think I'm going to give up on it just because they die? No, I'm going to continue to listen to it. And you know what? I did a video about this before. It might have got 4 or 5 views. But stop trying to silence me. Right? And you know what? If a person is 65, 70 years old, they're not ready for the rocking chair yet, and they want to continue to work, and be a part of the world, because that's what they were put on the planet to do, let them. Okay? So, I haven't cared for the format on that station in a while. I stopped listening. First I heard a Fuji song. I think it was that Killing Me Softly song from '96, I believe. And then there was a Saturday when we were at work at the warehouse, and we put it on. Thought we were gonna hear the countdown, and there was a what the hell was on when I turned that station on? A Mary J. Blige song. Excuse me, Mary J. Blige. I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce it right. It's late and I'm tired. Sorry, Mary. But yeah, I was kind of turned off because it's just that music just doesn't belong there. I remember when I could turn that station on, hear Chuck Berry, and Johnny Be Good. What a great song. And there's Buddy Holly. And there's that other one. Why must I be a teenager in love? You know, all those great songs from back in the day. You know, the early British invasion. No, I'm not talking about the Beatles. There were other bands, you know, that came over from Britain and made music too. And you know, again, I just really wish these companies, before they start going and making format changes like this, you know, and the guy I work with, he was the first person that told me about the rebrand a few days ago. He says he heard they talked to a lot of people, didn't talk to me, because I would have told them they were full of shit. They were thinking about that format change. Hey, you guys are full of shit. Now, the older folks have nothing to listen to. They might not be up to snuff on, you know, on satellite radio and streaming and having to do all that crap through their phones. I'm a middle-aged guy, and I don't even like doing that crap. It's annoying. I like something simplistic when I'm in the car. But it is what it is. So anyway, if any of you in the Philly, South Jersey area happen to see this video and you want to chime in and comment on this, just let me know. I mean, I think there's enough stations on the band for young people. I don't think they need any more. They've got just about every station out there that there is. And one thing I will say, all those people that love country music, they've got their station. They've had their station. It's 92.5 WXTU. It's been that station for years. They have not changed the format. All they did, they might have added some, you know, a couple more modern country songs here and there, but they've always remained true to their audience and try to keep their audience as happy as they could. They knew who their audience was. They weren't out there trying to get a gazillion different people. They just remained true to their audience and they took care of them, kept them happy. Yeah, I know young people that listen to country music. I know people my age that listen to country music. I know people 75, 76 years freaking old that listen to that stuff. And you know what? They're not turning their back on that channel. So obviously, hey, the folks over at the Country Channel are doing something right. You might want to think about that big 98.1. As, in my opinion, you get 2 thumbs down. No good. Sorry, guys. You need to return to oldies. And when I say oldies, I mean the early days of rock, 50s and 60s. Thanks, folks. Have a good night. I'm tired. I need to get some sleep. I got up midnight, so I'm shot. Time to get some sleep, and I'll see you on the next one. Have goody goody.